Hi, I'm Cavan McLaughlin. I'm the Fulfilment Manager and JEM Ambassador at Mdee. Mdee as a company are one of the top mobile phone distributors for EE and BT.
So thank you, Cav. Thank you for your time and I appreciate you joining us today.
You're welcome.
So if I can start with a nice, easy question. So how long have you been with Mdee?
So it'll be 5 years this year. So it's my 5-year anniversary this month.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. And what do you enjoy so much about the industry?
The industry, it's very dynamic. There's lots of elements that can be pulled into any particular role. So whether it's working with mobiles, whether it's mobile broadband devices, or fixed line communications, there's lots of different areas of which you can expand your knowledge and improve your skills.
Fantastic. So what particular role do you play within Mdee and how do you help your partners, Cav?
So I've a rather long-winded title, which is Fulfilment Manager and JEM Ambassador. So what that means is I look after the team that process all of our connections and deal with any queries. So it's very similar to a customer support role. And the JEM Ambassador side is our main selling point is our portal, which is really, really effective. And I oversee the training and development of partners using that system. So just making sure that everything's working on it and helping develop it as well.
Sure. Okay, fantastic. I'd like to find out a bit more about that as we go on. But how long have you been in the industry then overall?
I started working in mobile in 2007. So in that time, I've seen the rise of the smartphone, the rise of touch screen. So back when I started, some of the most popular phones were things like the Palm Trio, and it had a green screen. And I always remember like the introduction of 3G, where you could download a music video in 45 minutes, and it was so brilliant at the time. And then you think now it's a blink of an eye. So it's changed in the last 14 years just dramatically.
Yeah. So do you think David Beckham has still finally got connection on his video call with that Motorola flip phone he did on the advert?
I'd like to think he has it by now.
By now, we'd hope so.
Yeah.
We'd hope so. Brilliant. So not just the evolution then of tech, but I guess what are the changes that you've seen within the industry?
Well, the way that tariffs work, the way that the systems are used, the network infrastructure itself. There are still fundamentals that are the same. You still have a price plan and you have a mobile phone. And I don't think that dynamic will ever change, but how that mobile phone, that technology is used, going from just a mobile communication device or a phone that is built into your car to now being able to work completely remotely from a single device. Logging onto your emails, your internet, because all of the platforms of which company uses are all internet based now. So you just have complete access to everything through one device. And if you go that one step further, it's even on a watch. So it's massively changed from being the brick that we had to now being your entire world and not being able to run your company without it.
Yeah, staggering, isn't it? Staggering. I don't think we would have got through the last year, to be fair, without, and I speak as a business owner, without the tech and the comms advancements of the last 10 years.
Absolutely. It'd have been interesting. No, it would have been awful, but interesting to kind of rewind 15 years ago and see how the country would have done, how we would have progressed and rebuilt what we've lost over the last year if we hadn't have had that communications of being able to speak to your family remotely and have pub quizzes online, not alone being able to run your business from home. For example, for us, we all have laptops, we all have BT's cloud voice system. So we were able to shut up shop and people were to take the laptop and their desk phone, go home, plug them in and work, and with little to no interruption to service. So technology has been really, really important to our business. So it reflects across every industry. they've felt exactly the same. And we've had a massive amount of success over the last year from people realizing that they've got to make the change to go wireless, to give people mobile phones, and to allow people to work from home. And we've been instrumental in helping that happen.
Yeah. So how does your team then, that's really interesting. How does your team specifically, because in client services, fulfillment, the kind of role that your team plays, how do they support your partners to do that kind of business when it's so varied and technical?
So when the connection gets put through to my team, or there's a query that's sent through to my team, we use our JEM system. It comes through on a ticket, and then we can pick it up and process the order. And people haven't got the same resources that they had when they were working from their office. They haven't got colleagues necessarily there to be able to answer a question, or the bit of paper, the training manual that they had when they first started that company. So we've really had to adapt and really support our partners more over the last year than normal. And it's something we want to continue to do as well, because we've found it really, really important. And partners have really enjoyed the fact that they can pick up a phone, or raise a ticket, ask a question, and we're happy to help and go that extra mile to help them in this time where they don't necessarily have the resources to be able to go and find it themselves.
Okay, so to take that a stage further, if I may, what about a partner then who may be new to EE? How do you bridge that gap? Because if it's not their main network, how do you help them?
So that fits into my role quite nicely. So we have a process called the onboarding process. So when a partner joins Mdee, they're introduced to our systems and EE's processes through an onboarding process, which starts with their business manager and introduction to Mdee and a little bit of sales training. Then it will develop into the JEM side of it, the JEM training, and of how to build quotes and how to use sort of the JEM CRM system, how to process your orders. And they're looked after right the way through. And then there is a program set up with the business managers to make sure that training continues all the way through. But the first point of the JEM portal training starts with me, and it normally happens within a few weeks of them joining the company, that they'll go through this. And it's a good introduction to me and to my team to do that as well. So we go right the way through the whole spectrum of training when they join the team.
Fantastic. So it begs the question then, how do you maintain and support them as individuals, because every reseller and every partner is different, right?
Absolutely, and it's very similar to asking a teacher how do you run your classroom. Every student has different requirements. Whether it's university, college, and you have to cater and understand who they are, how they learn, and who they are within the business, because it's not just the industry that they come from, it's on an individual basis. How do they learn and take on information? Do they want to be in the driving seat and me direct them, or would they rather me drive and they watch and observe, so to speak, when they do their training? Are they visual learners? Are they audio? How are they going to take on that information? Also, what role they have within that company. Do I need to focus on the sales side of it, because I came from a sales background, so therefore I can cater for that side of it? Or is it just from a processing point of view, so I can adapt the style of what? So there's lots of questions that I ask when I start the calls of, what is your role? What's your background? What do you know about EE? Because there's a lot of language that's used within EE that laymen wouldn't necessarily understand. Yeah. In fact, you can go an entire paragraph using nothing but acronyms. So it's making sure that they understand them, and if they don't, going through all that as well.
Fantastic. And that's come through really strongly, Cav, when I've been talking to your partners as well, in terms of there's a real family feel to Mdee in terms of your approach with, I guess, the business relationship is a vital part, but how you approach it as a family and that care and support that you give, what does that look like day to day?
Well, for a start with, it's quite important that from the day dot, they're core partners. They are partners of ours. We don't call them customers. It's not about you give us the money, we make money here, you make money there. It's about we work together to win these opportunities and to get the best out of each other. And sometimes we challenge each other, and sometimes it works perfectly harmonious. But it's understanding those people, connecting to them at a personal level, and making sure that they're aware that that they know who to go to if they need help. And making sure that everybody in Mdee is trained and ready to support those people. You know, we hire people based on their personality. I was running a couple of interviews today, and I was making the point that Mdee is not the building I'm sat in. It's not the system that the partner uses. It's the people within the building that make Mdee great and make us who we are. So we want to hire the right people to make sure that they fit in with that culture. So it starts from the interview process right the way through to their training and their internal development as well.
Fantastic. And that's really, really great to hear, because it's such a different approach to, you know, the box shifting days of being richer in the commissions pack that the telecoms industry used to be about, right? So to have that ethos running deep within Mdee and deep within your partnership approach. So it may sound obvious a question, but how important are partners to Mdee as a business?
Well, we wouldn't be a business without our partners and without that relationship. Without our partners, we wouldn't have anything. So they're integral to our business, and growing our base will help us grow and have better performance all around. So it's the first thing that you're taught when you join Mdee is you look after your partners. You look after them, you treat them like they're internal employees, we treat them like they're part of the team, they're just working externally.
Love it. Fantastic. Okay, cool. And that ties nicely in with the behaviors, because I was reading the Mdee behaviors and the culture, and I inspired by them myself when I was reading them. And one of them jumped out that I wanted to ask you about, which was dynamic. So what does dynamic look? How does that show up? Because you hear companies talking about visions and cultures, but they don't really live it. And it feels like you guys do. So how does being dynamic show up in your day job?
To be dynamic within Mdee, I mean, we are a team of around about 30 employees. And so that means that you have no necessarily specialist in one subject. You know, I don't just look after the fulfillment team and look after JEM. There's lots of other things that I do within the company to help out both the company and partners. So a great example is if there's a problem with an order, I can go into the warehouse and I can speak to our team. I can even dispatch orders for partners to make sure that their demands are met and their requirements are met. You know, there's a lot of diversity within the company, within our partners, and really kind of being flexible to their needs is really, really important. And sometimes that means doing jobs that are outside of your job description to go that extra mile.
Fantastic. So there's a real cross-trained team.
100%. Yeah. A lot of my team are trained to work in a warehouse. I'm cross-trained. I came from the sales department. So if they're particularly busy, I can take sales calls, or if they're you know, if they're in a meeting, we can sort of say, right, the sales team will offer a meeting. Cavan, you can take the sales call, and the service level does not drop because they're still going through to somebody who knows what they're talking about, and not going, right, well, we'll take a message and we'll get somebody to call you back in a couple of hours.
Yeah. So your knowledge comes through very loud and clear, Cav. So does your passion for this industry, but the ethos of, so where's that instilled? How does that form in you and your team?
I think the passion is around the company. Mdee have been extremely supportive from the day that I started, and they show a lot of faith and a lot of patience with both employees and with partners. And they've really helped me, and I've wanted to repay that through my loyalty to them and giving Mdee everything that I have in order to make this work. especially over the last 18 months or since the pandemic. It's been really, really difficult. And having the stability and having a company that you can throw yourself into and really get passionate about has been, really, really good for me. I'm passionate about my team, because if you're not passionate about your own team and about what they do, you can't expect them to be passionate. You lead from example. And, the people above me, Michelle, who I'm sure you've spoken to, Tanny, are all very, very passionate. And you kind of want that to flow all the way through the business and lead by that example.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember in the time I worked with Tanny, I always felt that even if I made mistakes, she'd have my back, because we learned from it and we put it right. And then we develop the business off the back of it. She always has that continual learning approach.
There's an ethos of not pointing fingers and saying that's your fault. It's a case of, how do we resolve that issue?
Yeah.
Which I think is really, really important. If there has been something go wrong, you need to reflect on it. You need to understand, okay, I did this wrong. What do I learn from it? Whether it's simply, I don't do that again, or I need to be more vigilant, or I need to be more diligent, and take it moving forward. So yeah, I think it's important not to point a finger, but learn from your mistakes and understand that they're part of your development program.
Fantastic. Really good to hear. So I guess a cheeky question then, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
As Mdee sit there in the channel as a distributor, how do Mdee compare? So what does Mdee do that other distributors don't?
It's going back to the people again. We're not just voices at the end of a phone. We care about our partner's business and we care about their success. Because if we don't, then we're not going to succeed. There are some distributors that you are just a number on their list. We know our partners, their families. We know who they are, where they've come from, what industries. We really get to know them in and out. Even if it's sending Christmas cards and Christmas gifts at the end of the year, and I kind of know, oh, so and so of that business, he really likes a drop of bourbon. Therefore, we'll send him a gift at Christmas. So we know them. We know how they work. We know how they want to be treated, and there really needs to be this collaboration between both companies. Because they need us and we need them.
Fantastic. Well, Cav, it's been a real pleasure. So thank you for your time and thank you for your honesty.
No, you're welcome.
Brilliant.
Thank you.